Hey there, this is John Longenecker. It's important to learn something about copyright. Remember, the Code of Ethics of the University of Southern California was completed in 2004 by the Board of Trustees, and it ought to govern the copyright policy at USC, written up in 2001 and 2007. Here's a quote from the University of Southern California Code of Ethics, written by the Board of Trustees. At the University of Southern California, we try to do what is right, even if no one is watching us or compelling us to do the right thing. We do not harm or take unfair advantage of anyone. We do not tolerate lying, deliberate misrepresentation, theft. The code says we do not harm. Well, I have a little legal dictionary here, and harm sent me to injury, and injury says legal injury is any damage resulting from a violation of a legal right. As I understand it, if you're the author of an original work, a story, treatment, script, or a short film, you own the copyright. That's a right. So, if USC takes your copyright, you've been harmed. Here's something. Good faith, a total absence of any intention to seek an unfair advantage or defraud another person. What comes to mind is that young film students know little about U.S. copyright law, yet are required to sign a document that transfers the future copyright in their short films to USC. A deliberate misrepresentation, an untrue statement of fact, an incorrect or false representation. Dictionary goes to false pretense, a representation of some fact or circumstance which is not true and is calculated to mislead, consists of concealment or non-disclosure where there is a duty to speak. Well, that's pretty harsh. What comes to mind is the intellectual property copyright policy document that has nothing to do with U.S. copyright at all. It's just a consent form. Typically, theft has to do with personal property, but it may apply to intellectual property as well. Theft, obtain property of another by deception. Deception, like to create a false impression as to law. What comes to mind is the USC Intellectual Property Copyright Policy document. Looks like it's based on U.S. copyright law. It isn't. The provisions have nothing to do with U.S. copyright law. Here's some things you can learn about U.S. copyright law. An author, original work of authorship, exclusive rights to the author, derivative works like a story, treatment, script, or short film versions. Those are derivative works. Any new version is a derivative work. Copyright registration, a sole author, a joint work, a copyright claimant, a copyright owner. Those are things you can learn about U.S. copyright law. Okie dokie, let's take a closer look at the USC copyright policy. I don't know where these things come from. They're all made up. Got nothing to do with copyright law. Has stuff in there like copyright owned by USC, USC resources, facilities, funds, supplies, cameras, editing devices, guild agreements, insurance. None of those things have anything to do with U.S. copyright law. They're just made up by USC. Maybe some faculty member said, hey, those cinema students over there, they get to use editing machines. We ought to keep their copyright. Lots of USC cinema students have talent. They're like athletes. How about a swimmer in the athletic department of USC making records? Does USC athletic department keep the medals and name the records after them because they provide a really swell swimming pool and maintain it? As we see it, the 2004 Code of Ethics, written by the Board of Trustees of the university, ought to govern the conduct laid out in the 2001 and 2007 copyright policy. It's clear there is a conflict. University senior administrators and faculty are invited to join us. Typically, new students are required to sign the copyright document at the start of the fall semester. As I see it, signing that copyright transfer document ought to be put on hold. Yep, put on hold. So that means new film students will not be forced to sign the consent copyright transfer form until this is sorted out and the policy is properly revised to live up to the University Code of Ethics written in 2004 by the University Board of Trustees. It's clear there ought to be a new policy where the students own the copyright to their story, treatment, scripts, and short films, not USC. So, learn something about copyright. It's good for you. That's it. Stay tuned.